How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous day. Please give this video a thumbs up if you guys really enjoy it. Subscribe, of course, if you guys have not already. Also, please do me the biggest favor of all. Hit that bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos or streams here on my channel. Also, please head over to Twitch and follow me there at Douglas447. So you guys don't miss out on the streams that I do there. I stream at least once a week, whether it be covering Call of Duty Battlefield, Warface Breakout, Resident Evil, Destiny 2, Star Wars gaming, things of that nature. So make sure you guys head over there and follow me for free so you guys don't miss out on those. And I'm going to be talking to you guys about Blade Runner 2049. This is, of course, another throwback movie. And as always, guys, we're going to be talking about positives and negatives. And I hope you guys all enjoy the review. So honestly, guys, when this movie came out in 2017, I ended up seeing it in theaters. And I haven't seen it since. I decided, hey, you know what? Let's add it to my collection. And so I have the original Blade Runner starring Harrison Ford, and I have the sequel starring Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling. And this movie takes place 30 years after the ending of the original Blade Runner. And I highly encourage you that this is kind of a detriment, but I'm like, it's a sequel at the same time. So you have to have seen the original Blade Runner in order to have any idea as to what is happening in Blade Runner 2049. So if you haven't seen the original and you just watched the sequel, there's a lot of exposition and a lot of characters and plot lines that will not make as much sense and won't have as much of an impact on you, the audience, if you haven't seen the original, which is for any sequel. But this movie strives on trying to do a lot of callbacks and tying up plot threads and character arcs that were introduced in the first film, and they try to make those come to a head. Doesn't work for all of them, and so yeah, just letting you guys know about that. So of course, Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling in this movie are fabulous. They do very well. The soundtrack and the camera work are fantastic. The visuals in this movie are fabulous, and the set pieces are really great. The sound design, whoever was in charge of the sound design and the soundtrack, just did an amazing job. I love seeing new and old characters and new and old locations return in this film. And it also was cool. We actually got to see a lot more of what the world would look like, especially San Francisco, what the future might look like, and very soon. I mean, at the time we were recording this video, it is late 2020. And I'm like, we're only 20 years, 20, 30 years away from this possible Earth. And it's kind of scary, but cool at the same time. This movie also blurs the lines between androids, humans, and projections, yet this movie also makes sure that you understand one key aspect, that no matter how far we advance in technology, only humans can be human. No matter how far we try to make computers and androids and projections seem so lifelike, they are never, ever going to be complete like a human being. Like, even androids don't have a soul. Projections, they can go through walls and whatnot, or they're limited to, being in your apartment. And they have their own set of weaknesses that humans don't. So no matter what happens with technology, humans will always be human, and that'll never ever change. This film also focuses a lot on characters and plot over action. There are some action moments in this movie to try to not make you want to fall asleep, but the action scenes aren't the purpose of this film. It is focusing a lot on characters and a lot on the plot, which I enjoy a lot. Unfortunately, I wish there was a little more action because I honestly almost fell asleep. I enjoyed the family plotline that was in this movie, the twists, the turns, and the revelations that were involved. And I was also happy that this movie focused a lot on Ryan Gosling's character for the first 2/3 of the movie before Harrison Ford's character shows up. And I was really concerned when I went and saw this movie, and when I rewatched it, I'm just like, Harrison Ford's in this movie. You're paying this really well-known actor a lot of money. You're going to want to have him in a lot more of this movie. He's going to get a lot of screen time, right? Harrison Ford doesn't get that much screen time. This movie focuses a lot on new and old characters, but Harrison Ford's character kind of gets pushed to the sidelines because this movie is trying to be a sequel. It is trying to wrap up things that happened from the first movie while it's also trying to be its own thing, and it's trying to be a sequel to establish new characters, new plots, new events taking place. Harrison Ford's character ties into it the last third of the movie, but he's not the main focus. Ryan Gosling's character is, and I'm happy that they went down that route and they just made Harrison Ford's character kind of like a side character. I know some people kind of weren't happy with that, but to me, I'm okay with it. At the same time, though, when you're watching the movie, because he's been pushed to a side character, Harrison's Ford character doesn't do all that much when you think about it. Like, he basically is the exposition giver, the person that receives a bunch of exposition from the main villain. He almost dies, and then he ends up, spoilers, spoilers, he meets his daughter at the end of the movie. And that's about it. So, but at the same time, this movie isn't about Harrison Ford's character. If you want to know everything about Harrison Ford's character, go watch the original Blade Runner. Okay? And then I also love the epic finale battle, and the conclusion of this movie was really awesome. I just loved it. For negatives, though, there are some I have to address. I know some people, they're like, Blade Runner 2049 is perfect. Okay, if you've got, no goggles on that makes you want to see the really bad things about this movie. First of all, this film is filled with a bunch of unnecessary language. This movie is rated R, so what did you expect? There is also an abundance of product placement from Sony and Coca-Cola, for example. There is nudity throughout this movie, so keep that in mind. This isn't a good movie for younger audiences and younger minds to watch. This film also has bad pacing. This movie is 2 hours and 44 minutes long. I can tell you for a fact this movie could have easily been trimmed down to 2 hours because this movie is just way too long. In like an hour and 50 minutes, I was getting bored and I just wanted the movie to end. Honestly, if they wanted to keep this movie to be 2 hours and 44 minutes long, it should have been divided into 2 films. I nearly fell asleep. Like having a 2.5 hour, 3 hour movie, like The Lord of the Rings, or Avengers Endgame, or Avatar, for example, those movies being so long is fine. You want to know why people don't complain about those movies being so long? There's good characters, there's good CGI, there's good soundtrack, there's tons of action, and because of all those things, just those 3 things for example, but there's many others, there's tons of things that go into making a really long movie not take so long. It seems. There are things and elements in film that make it where if you have a 3-hour movie and it doesn't seem like it's 3 hours long, that's good. This movie, however, does the complete polar opposite of what needs to be done. You have a nearly 3-hour movie and you're bored to death watching it. It's a drama. And trust me, I've watched some really interesting dramas, but they don't bore me to death to watch them. Like, for example, Once Upon a Time, or Lost, or Revolution. There's something in those that makes you enjoy them, even though they are very long. This movie just fails on all cylinders as to why was this movie so long? Because there's certain parts that could easily get cut out, and I just didn't like them. Character deaths in this movie are very predictable. The villains in this movie actually don't do that much, except for constantly give a bunch of exposition, and then one of them decides to do a little kicking and punching, and then she dies. And lastly, not all the plot lines are wrapped up. Like, there are so many plot threads and character things that just don't get wrapped up. And I have a gut feeling they, like, okay, this movie's getting to 2 hours and 44 minutes long. we're going to have to cut the movie and make it where we have to do a Blade Runner 3 eventually. And I don't like that. I get this movie is kind of like Halo 2, where there's like, oh, we got so many ideas and things in the iron. Oh, we have to get this movie out at this certain time, so we're going to have to end the movie, end Halo 2, and then we'll finish up the storyline in Halo 3 or Blade Runner 3. And I don't like that. There's not a actual conclusion to this movie. There are just things that just are still going on, and the movie just kind of comes to a screeching halt, and then the credits roll. And if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about, that screeching halt. And I'm just like, I don't like how the movie ends in that capacity. Like, the final shot, the final battle is cool, but I felt like after that they wanted to keep the movie going for an extra half an hour or so. And if there's an extended edition, I'd rather have that, because this movie's actual conclusion is horrible in that sense. So with that, guys, Blade Runner 2049, it's an okay movie. It's nothing spectacular. Like I said, I've watched it twice in the past 3 years. It's not something I consider rewatching constantly compared to other movies. It is definitely a cult classic. I can see that becoming a thing like the original is. But overall, guys, it's just your average drama, science fiction thriller, cop movie. So, it is what it is. So with that, guys, I'm going to give the movie Blade Runner 2049 from the year 2017 an 8 out of 10. I appreciate all of you guys for watching. You guys all have an amazing day. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream, whether it be here on YouTube or Twitch at Douglas447. Bye, guys.